everybody, I'm Nicole Spitler of All Designs Equine, and welcome to my door. Today we're going to be making a Kentucky Derby wreath. It has a lot of different moving parts. It's got a horseshoe, a racing horse, an English stirrup, and the signage, "Go Baby Go." So let's jump in and get started. I have the kit available. I will link it in the description below, and it also has different options for the kit depending on what you like. Just save this video and then go back to it later when you're putting your wreath together. To begin with, I'm going to add the rope so we can hang it. And the horseshoe itself comes with 2 holes at the top, and we're just going to put knots in the rope so that it can't slip through, and that will be our hanger. It's also rustic, so it just goes with the whole horse theme really well. We're going to add roses at the top, so it doesn't really matter if it doesn't look super clean because we're going to hide those mechanics of the knot. So I painted the horseshoe black to go with the whole black and white checkered theme. And of course, we're going to be using the red roses. I've got my red roses that I got from Michael's, but they also have some really nice ones at Hobby Lobby as well. And actually, I think they do have some fairly decent red roses at Joann Fabrics that you could pick up, but you can find them anywhere. They're very popular this time of year. Okay, so here is the patterned racehorse. As you know, I draw all my own wood cutouts and then I add a pattern to it and paint it. One of these days I'm going to be showing and revealing the secret of how I pattern my horses, because that's always a big question that I get. So I am going to do that. I'm not sure when, but I will let you know. So as I said, there are so many different versions. You can just use the horseshoe. You can use the horseshoe with the "Go Baby Go." You can use the horseshoe with the racehorse. You don't have to add the stirrup. You can put the red roses at the bottom. There's a million different ways to do this wreath. It's really just all personal preference. So the Kentucky Derby is known for saying "Go Baby Go," so that's why I added this signage. Some people like it, some people don't. Personal opinion. So I'm going to use it, and I painted it white so it goes once again with the black and white theme. So this is a classic black, white, red theme, but I did paint the horse the copper, brown, black so that we could actually see the horse. Okay, so another option is just to have the racehorse, because this is a very large racehorse to begin with. And we're going to add the English stirrup that's going to hang from the middle of the racehorse. This is just an artistic version. Obviously, it's not to scale. So I'm going to add this and I'm going to staple it in. You can use whatever English stirrup you want. And if you want to get extra fancy, you can use an authentic racing stirrup, which I think would be cool, but I don't have one on hand. So I'm just going to be using a very classic silver English stirrup. Okay, so I'm going to add our styrofoam to not only cover the area that I stapled the quote-unquote leather in, but obviously we need to put our greenery in. And I'm going to use the shape of a very small crescent. So it's going to be hanging in this upside down U shape. So I'm going to build the shape by adding the greenery. I'm using eucalyptus and whatever greenery that you like. I'm going to use different shades of green, the light green and the dark green. So as I build the shape, I will see how big I want it. Sometimes we don't want to use a lot of greenery because we don't want it to overwhelm everything. And this also is a very simple floral wreath to make. When I was in high school, my good friend Patty Volkwine was a jockey and an exercise rider at the Mountaineer Park in West Virginia. So even though we were in Pennsylvania, Mountaineer Park was about an hour away. So she, in 11th grade, decided this was going to be her dream and this is what she was going to do. So she would bring us to the backside of the shed row and we would meet and talk to the jockeys and pet the horses. And we thought it was really great fun. So she was a jockey for several years, but she ended up getting out of that business. But it was still very exciting as a young person to go through and meet the horses that were in the races. It was quite exciting. So I'm going to add this big, beautiful rose. This particular rose is really vibrant. It's a deep red, which I like better than like the orangey red. It's got like a blue undertone. So I think it looks more elegant and just prettier in general. So that will be the focal point. Obviously, the Run for the Roses is all about the roses. So I'm going to also be highlighting the roses with some Queen Anne's lace type flower, and then I'm going to add some smaller spray roses to highlight the big red rose. It's like the red rose is the star of the show, and then we've got the supporting actors. So we're going to do that. Now you could add a black and white check ribbon. I think it's too much, but if you like it, go ahead, add it. I'm just playing with it myself, trying to figure out where things go because as normal, I haven't done this wreath before. So I'm going to be offering the full version of this in my shop, and I will link that also below if you don't want to go through the trouble of making your own wreath. Again, in order to highlight the red, I'm going to be using the white flowers. Also, it goes with the Kentucky Derby theme, but it is a typical red and white, tends to be used all the time together. I personally love to use purple with red. It is complementary on the color wheel, and even though the red is usually very vibrant and the purple is calming, this very deep red rose with the purple really highlights the red color, and I tend to use purple and red together all the time. But in this case, I decided to do something different and just use red and white. So I'm going to be adding white flowers in that shape of the crescent with the spray red roses to once again show off and make this big red rose the focal point, which naturally it would be because it's so much larger than all the other flowers. But in a wreath in particular like this, we need that focal point. So I'm just going to continue adding flowers. I did add a little seeded eucalyptus, another favorite of mine because of the green, the light green color. And it, like in the background, you kind of almost think of the mint julep because it has that minty, soft green color. So I'm doing that, and then once again, this will be easy because there's very few flowers in the wreath. It's just the greenery, the red, the white, and then it's done. So you could use this wreath as it is and just hang it up. It looks great. But we're going to be adding other elements. We're going to just go all out on this particular wreath, and it will be big. So you can use it on your door to welcome your guests to your party, or you can use it inside to complement your decorations. Okay, and then after caressing my flowers, which I tend to do for some reason to show them love, even though they're not even alive, I am going to use our horseshoe and put it behind. And then I'm going to try to figure out the placement of the Go Baby Go. So basically, once you're happy with it, you just glue it in and voila, it is done. It is quick to put together and something that is definitely going to wow your guests because of just the visual impact and the vibrancy of everything. And as I promised, with the final touches, I'm going to be adding the red roses to hide our knot in the rope. Okay, and so I can now say, voila, we are done. I tend to go back off camera and kind of fix things that I wasn't 100% thrilled with. So I do that every time I make a wreath. Like I make the wreath and then I go back and I see what needs fixed. That's just the way I always do it. It is very rare that I finish a wreath, I hold it up and I'm like, wow, it's perfect. So I go back and I finish everything, make sure everything is balanced and it's good to the eye. But this is the Go Baby Go, as we will call it, wreath, and the kit will be linked below and the wreath will be linked below. And I'm hoping you guys will like and subscribe to my channel. That would be wonderful. And I will see you next Saturday at 5 o'clock when I'm going to probably be doing a Mother's Day wreath. So this one will be something that we can do without all the wood pieces. It's going to be a little bit more of a simple classic design. All right, I will see you next time. Remember, the door is always open.